In the 16th century, nautical navigation required the cumbersome practice of unrolling large maps. The needs of trade demanded a more practical alternative in order to facilitate traveling. Let's unroll the story of the man who was behind the innovation of binding maps into books in the 1570s. The course of the history of printed maps changed when Abraham Ortelius, born in Antwerp and one of the most renowned cartographers of all time, conceived the idea of a bound book following the request of Angelicus Hoofdman, a prominent Antwerp merchant and shipowner. The result was a uniform, systematically organized collection of engraved maps designed to depict the entire known world, each accompanied by explanatory text. The Theatrum Orbis Terrarum, published in 1570, was the first work to present the world in the form of a modern atlas. For Hoofdman, the Theatrum served as a practical tool for calculating distances and assessing the potential hazards that his cargo might encounter. For Ortelius, it offered an opportunity for both wealth and intellectual fulfillment. Abraham Ortelius was not just a cartographer. He was already a well-traveled scholar, highly knowledgeable in history and mathematics, and fluent in several languages when he turned to publishing. The mentality of this man is confirmed by the invitation to readers to submit corrections and additional maps, aiming to improve the accuracy and comprehensiveness of the book. We can see the depth and range of his scholarship developing in the editions of the map of Cyprus with its 4 states, as he added more information and corrections, as well as enriching the table of the unknown locations of the island of Cyprus. In 1579, shortly after the initial appearance of the Theatrum, Ortelius introduced a supplementary volume, the Parergon, intended for the armchair traveler. The Parergon reflected Ortelius's belief that geography is the eye of history. The Theatrum marked a true milestone in the history of cartography. Although it was an expensive book, its cost was about 20 florins, the wages of a skilled worker for 4 months. It achieved remarkable success. But publishing was not a successful business for all cartographers, as it was for Ortelius. Giovanni Francesco Camoccio, active from 1552 until about 1575, was a leading publisher and map and print seller in Venice at about the same time as Ortelius in Antwerp. But Camoccio, in contrast to Ortelius, printed individual maps over a period of years. Most of these maps depict the Venetian ports through the Adriatic and into the Aegean that facilitated trade to the Levant. The maps were sold individually to customers. Occasionally, some of these maps are found bound together to form an atlas factice or a made-up atlas. It was not until 1575, 5 years after the appearance of the Theatrum, that Camoccio's maps were published in a sort of atlas called an isolario, or collection of island maps, and then not by Camoccio himself, but by another Venetian printer, Donato Bertelli. In Venice, in order to secure exclusive rights for printed works, a publishing license called privilegio was required, granted by the Venetian Senate. In 1567, Camoccio was granted his second privilegio. But business must not have been as good as Ortelius's, because after 1 year he was caught selling indecent sonnets, accompanied by a number of prints, most indecent, engraved by his partner Domenico Zenoi. Zenoi paid a fine of 10 ducats, while Camoccio had to pay a fine of 5 ducats and had his privilege withdrawn. Eventually, trade affected not only the production of maps as a tool for navigation, but also the business survival of the publishers who made maps and books available for use.